This is the Mobile Tech Podcast, brought to you by worldpodcasts.com. Now here's your host, Tech Girl, Miriam Joie.
Brought to you by Enovix. Hi and welcome to the Mobile Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Miriam Joie, and today is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, and I'm here at MWC in Barcelona with Raj Talluri, the CEO of Enovix. Hi Raj, how's it going?
Great, thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Listen, I'm fascinated by what you're doing with batteries because here's the thing. Batteries are in big flux right now. There's all this talk, about donut and solid state. But the reality is we need products with batteries today. We can't be like pie in the sky about this stuff. And I think what you guys are working on is exactly that. So tell me, how did the company come about? Where are you trying to go? Where are you today? And what products are you delivering right now that you can maybe show the audience and talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, glad to. So the company was founded probably 20 years ago now.
Wow.
And it's been on for a while. Founded by 3 people from IBM. And the goal of the company was always to increase the energy density of the battery. Now, when I say energy density, it's how much capacity the battery would deliver in a unit volume.
Of course, yeah.
So in many products, like mobile phones, as we are at this conference, and other devices, the space is very constrained. So the battery has to deliver a lot of power in a constrained environment. Now, I'm talking about lithium-ion batteries.
Of course, yes.
And lithium-ion batteries, ever since they've been invented, have always used almost very same or very similar electrochemistry. What I mean by that is the anodes and the cathodes that they use have always been, not changed a lot. Let me put it that way. Typically LCO, which is a cathode that's used, and anode has always been graphite. Because of that, the amount of increases in energy density that we've got over the last couple of decades has been very small.
Right.
Year on year, I'd say it's been like a couple of percentage, best case. Now, you feel like the smartphones got a lot better battery life over time now, over the last 2 decades. As you know, I've been in smartphones for a long time with TI and Qualcomm and Micron. What we noticed is that the battery life of the phones got better because the battery size got bigger, not because the battery energy density got bigger. The phones got bigger, so the display got bigger, so the battery that's behind the phone, in the phone behind the display, kept getting bigger and bigger.
Right.
That's how we see that we got more, like we can keep, charging our own phones only once a day, like in the night. Now that promise is now going away.
Right.
Because with AI coming at the edge, there's so much compute now going on in the mobile phones, and you can see here AI in every single mobile phone. The battery life is going down faster and faster, but the phones can't really get any bigger.
Right.
So which means to keep that all-day battery life so that you charge your phone only once in the night, you have to come up with some other way to increase the energy density.
So my audience is well versed on that, on the state of lithium-ion today, the evolution of lithium-ion. We also are covering very extensively silicon carbon batteries.
Okay, good.
This is a big part of what we talk about because they are a game changer for the industry. And that's right now I feel like where the state of the art is. I've talked to some manufacturers and the smartphones here on the show floor, interviewed their engineers, and I'm aware that they're on Gen 5 right now, 5 years into their silicon carbon journey. So is Enovix's battery a silicon carbon battery?
Right. So we are a silicon carbon battery. The big difference between us and all the other batteries you see in the market today, when people talk about silicon carbon batteries that are in the market today, they are essentially graphite anode batteries with some amount of silicon carbon doping is the way I would call it. Because if you put more and more silicon carbon, the problem is that silicon, when it absorbs or when it stores lithium, it expands.
Yeah.
So there is no real way to keep putting more and more silicon into the battery without stopping it from swelling. What we figured out in this company is how to use 100% active silicon and keep the swelling of the battery under 2%.
Okay.
So this is the game-changing thing.
When you say 100%,
there's no graphite in the battery.
None. Because, the state of the art right now on the show floor, and I'm not going to name names because they're embargoes, but is 25 to 32% silicone content.
Right.
So you're at 100.
100%.
Wow.
And now let's ask the question, how do we accomplish that? Because obviously silicon swells. What the company has done over the last many years is to solve this problem through clever mechanical construction of the battery.
Okay.
Which is completely different than how batteries are made. Most of the batteries now are made by taking a layer of cathode and an anode and a cathode and an anode and then stack them out into like sandwich, right?
Yeah.
The problem is when you do that, silicon tends to expand, as we talked about. The battery just swells like that. So if you have a phone, it pushes the phone cover off.
Right.
Huge amount of pressure. In this company, the founders came up with the idea that instead of stacking batteries like that, we cut anodes and cathodes into really thin strips. Like I'm talking about micron level things.
Oh, wow, micron level. Okay.
Right. So the battery is like that thin. And then you stack them one on top of the other this way. So now the battery is layers of anodes and cathodes and separators stacked this way instead of this way.
Got it.
So now when the silicon expands, it pushes on the thin side of the battery, not on the thick side of the battery. So now this thin side of the battery, it pushes, the force still applies quite a bit of force, but we can use a mechanical construction like a little steel cage and hold the battery down. We'll literally hold it under pressure so the battery doesn't swell.
Yes.
So this is the innovation. The problem though is we had to completely engineer new machines that actually laser dice the anodes, laser dice the cathodes, and new machines that actually stack these thin strips at micron level precision and come up with metal cages that can actually hold it down. So that's the innovation. And we built this factory in Penang, which actually makes these batteries now, and we're sampling it to customers.
So you have a battery here and a pair of smart glasses. Yeah. Are you aiming primarily at wearables right now? Or are you actually going to smartphones? And I know you can't reveal your partners. I'm not expecting you to be clear. I just want to know, is it possible that you might be getting into, a smartphone that we know in the next few years?
Absolutely. So our target is both smartphones and smart glasses, which have now come very quickly. So this is a battery. This is a battery that we're currently making, which is a battery inside a pack. And it goes into a smart glasses like this. And what it does is it actually goes into the leg of the, into that leg.
Here,
that's
right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And it is much better than anything out there in the market right now. And that's the advantage that our glasses provide, is that you can put these on, and I'll put them on just to see how stylish they look. This is from one of our partners. And, these glasses have the ability to improve. The goal is to be able to give an all-day experience with this, right? Which is very difficult to get today with the existing smart glasses because the camera and the video take so much power.
Give me an idea quantitatively. Like if you're looking at the state of the art on the show floor, 25 to 32% silicon content on a silicon carbon battery with 100%. What's the difference in capacity per size, per volume?
Yeah, so most of the glasses
how many milliamp hours is this particular battery at? How many volts?
So this is 350 plus milliamp hours. Most batteries that are in glasses like that are in the 200 range.
Okay, so you're getting about a 50 plus 60%
compared to the existing batteries that are in the current market. Now again,
this is 3.2
volts, 3.1, 3.2. But in silicon, a lot of the energy is at a lower voltage, so you can actually run this down to 2.7 and get more energy out.
Right.
There's another advantage of silicon batteries. Now, the most important thing is to note is that a lot of people talk about energy density of batteries, but what they don't talk about is how it's measured. Like, is it top of the charge, bottom of the charge? What is the maximum size of the battery, small size of the battery? So there's a lot of FUD out there on the ED. Our customers are pretty sophisticated, so they give us exact measurements on how to do it. So apples to apples, they really love this battery because it provides much better all-day use.
So, my audience, again, they're sold on silicon carbon.
That's right.
Like, we have used those phones. Right? We know what they can do. Yeah. We know what it brings. We're all on board. And I talked to Samsung and Apple and Google execs, and they're still very lukewarm on the whole thing, very scared, it feels like. And I think some of it is to do with, mass production for Samsung and Apple, for example. Their volumes are so high, they really need to be able to master it and make it cost effective. But I think for others like Google, they might not have the ability to do the testing they need to do to assure the quality control required, because it is, a dangerous thing with lithium-ion. So what I'm wondering is there additional risks involved with the 100% technology that Enovix has created? Do you have any more guardrails and safeguards to to put into it, more testing, more, and I presume you have some certifications already to guarantee the safety right now, right?
Exactly. So one thing I'll say is because of the way our battery is constructed with this steel cage that holds it down, it's a very safe battery. So when you drop it, when you feel the battery, like you can see, like, your battery feels like pretty solid, and it's not like one of these little pouchy things. It's you press on it,
it feels
it's all steel.
You can't bend it.
It's all steel.
One thing I noticed right away is like you can always, like, for those of you who've never taken apart a silicon carbon battery, and again, for those of you watching the podcast on Patreon, patreon.com/TNKGRL, you can, normal silicon carbon battery, the pouches, it feels like Play-Doh. You can kind of bend them, and it's safe to do so to a certain extent. But this feels like, it just feels
just solid.
Not malleable.
No. Because we put the silicon carbon under pressure. This cage we put in, the steel cage we put, can totally hold it down.
So it's right now the pressure is
on that side.
This
That's
way,
right? Exactly.
Not that way, and not on the z-axis.
Right.
So that's the big innovation, right?
Exactly.
But there's still some inherent danger, obviously.
Right. So I want to finish the answer to your question. So batteries, when you put them in products, people, this is a lot of energy in here, and you put it on your face and the glasses. So it's got to be like super, super safe. So we have tremendous amount of testing we do. We test it for dropping like hundreds of times. We hit it with things, and we get big pressure things banging on them. We do all through the qualification certification. We have huge labs that do this. And so, we spend a lot of time on that. And our customers tell us our battery is one of the safest ones they see because of the way we construct it.
Are there products like this? Can you tell us the company who makes the glasses that use this product? Is this a public thing yet?
This is not so we are not in production yet with this battery. So these are all early samples, but we expect to be in production this year. Okay. Again, here I've met a lot of customers. Most of them have our samples. They're testing them. And, battery qualification takes a long time.
Of course.
From the time we give the battery, typically a year to 18 months before the products come out, because that's just the way of the testing goes.
So, you said the company is 20 years old. It's taken this long to get to, beginning of production.
That's right.
And this is the first gen for you, right?
That's
With
right.
this technology.
That's right.
Okay. So, how do you scale from here? Because obviously there's two things here, right? Like as I mentioned with Samsung and Apple, part of the reason I think they're holding back is scale and cost, right? Like it's inherently more expensive to make a silicon carbon battery right now, because the manufacturing processes, especially yours, is more complex.
That's right.
So how do you develop that at scale? How do you go up from there in terms of, making it also, maybe more expensive, but worth the extra cost?
Yeah. So first thing is, we don't contract manufacture. We build our own factories.
Okay, so
we build our own factory. So we actually built a state-of-the-art factory in Penang, Malaysia. We opened it last year, and we've been working on it. And now we're getting samples from the factory. And the factory has ability to host 4 lines. And each of the lines, when we fully, put all the machines in and start producing, has the ability to produce about 9 million batteries per line.
Okay.
So if we put 4 of them in that factory, we can make, 30-some million batteries in that particular facility.
And right now you're just producing smaller size batteries for wearables and stuff like that.
So we are making 2 kinds. We are making a small size batteries for things like this. We're making a big battery, which is like close to 7,000, 8,000 milliamp hours for smartphones. And those are also being tested right now. So those are the 2 batteries we are making right now in this factory.
And so the small one is, you said 320, right? Milliamp hour?
Around 350, I think.
350? Okay, but that's the only one you make, right? This is it. Like you have the 350 and you have a 7,000 milliamp hour battery.
That's right.
Do you have any idea on the dimension of that 7,000 milliamp hour battery? I mean, I can obviously put it on the screen or whatever, but in case you knew it off the top of your head.
I don't, but it's probably like that big. I mean, it goes into, our latest phones.
It's going to go into a larger smartphone.
That's right. I mean, we publicly announced Honor as our customer. They're working with them in our last earnings call, so you can see the kind of batteries they use.
So in terms of thickness, how thick are we? Because thickness seems to be the critical thing right now, right? Because, people want thinner phones, and folding phones need to be thinner.
Right.
On a phone like this iPhone that I'm recording the video on right now, you can go 5 millimeters, maybe 6, right? Out of the 9 that the phone uses.
That's right.
But on we've seen Honor make a 2 millimeter battery for their folding phones.
That's right.
So I'm thinking, my God, how thick is yours? Because, I would love to see Samsung and Apple, who made this really thin phone last year, the Air for Apple and the S25 Edge for Samsung.
Right.
They didn't put silicon carbon batteries in them, and it impacted the performance, the experience, right? If you could make, and their phones were about 6 millimeters, right? 5.5 to 6. So the battery would have to be 4, 3, something like that.
Yeah, we can make batteries 3 and above.
Right. So right now you're just focusing on those two sizes as kind of like to get started.
That's right.
Okay.
Because batteries have to be made exactly dimensions to what the customer wants.
Yeah.
So we work with them to see a particular phone model that needs to go into a particular glasses.
Okay. So right now that's because you have 2 customers and they have specific needs. That's why you make those 2 batteries. I was trying to figure out if you were just had a form factor and you were shopping that.
No, these are custom. These are custom. But our factories can make different size batteries. So the factory itself is configurable. But these are the first 2 we made.
Do you imagine a time when maybe 5 years from now, when the company is running well and they got some products out there and manufacturing is ironed out and everything, will you license out the technology to someone for manufacturing? Under your control, obviously, or do you feel like it's going to remain an inside job for Enovix? Yeah,
it's hard to tell. Definitely we do need to get to a place where we manufacture at scale to prove out the technology and be in production and so on. I've seen models where large customers will come in and say, hey, you know what? We just want all the batteries that come from that line. This is our line. And then maybe they pay us to build that line. Or it could be we license it to other company. All those options open up. But when I get to that place, it's a nice problem.
It's a nice problem to have when you get there. You're not there yet, but that's great. So right now, give us some numbers just to kind of wrap things up. Energy density on these batteries, what are we looking at right now?
Our independent testing of our batteries, because everybody claims their energy density, so we actually had Polaris Lab tested.
Oh, cool.
We're at 930 watt hours per liter.
Wow. That's
on this battery, and 1,000 cycles, and 3C fast charge.
So 3C, and then 1,000 cycles is kind of what you're guaranteeing, basically, like to 80%, basically.
80%.
Okay, great. 80%. So that's actually pretty damn good. Yeah. And the thing that I always kept telling people on, and please back me up on this, Raj. Right. I keep explaining to people, they're like, well, but I read that their charge cycles are not as good, they're not as many, and I'm like, but think about it. You're charging it half the time.
Right.
They forget about that important part, right?
That's right.
It's like you're not going to charge it as often now.
That's right.
So it doesn't even matter if it's 600 cycles, in my opinion.
Right.
Now, I want to see it to be, 1,000, 2,000, 1,600. But in fact, I would say that the current non-Enovix batteries that are silicon carbon are typically in the almost 2,000 range now for 80% lifespan. So I think we're getting there. I think the difference between regular lithium-ion and silicon carbon is, other than price and complexity, is getting erased. And you're cranking it up one more notch.
Yeah, you said it well, right? I think cycle life is one of those things that, where is it bottom of charge or top of charge, full discharge, what rate of charge? There's many, many variables to these things. But ultimately, the goal is the battery should not die before you're ready to change your phone. But that's not true today. A lot of people change their phone because although they say the battery is 1,000 cycles and 80%, it doesn't seem to behave like that after a couple of years. That's the other well-kept secret in the battery industry.
The other thing that I think is important about silicon carbon, and I want to wrap up on this, is that people also forget that once you have a silicon carbon battery in your device, your battery management needs to be super tops.
Right.
And so as a result, you're going to maintain that battery better. For sure. Regardless of what the consumer is doing with the device, right? There is more safeguards, there's more software in there that does the charging better, maintains that battery life better. So I think, you look at traditional lithium-ion and especially, early BMSs, and they were crap, right? They just didn't take care of the battery.
That's right.
And that's why you see people with older phones having their phones not last as long as people with newer phones.
That's right.
Inherently. That's right. So I think I also try to remind people of that alongside the...
Yeah, the battery management systems and the PMICs that Qualcomm's and MediaTek's build and the software that goes in there, how it checks. All these things have evolved over time. And we work closely with the ecosystem partners to make sure when our battery is put in, it's used right.
I honestly think battery management is like voodoo science, and it's like the unsung hero of the entire battery story. And so I'm glad you have some good partners.
Yeah.
Listen, Raj, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. This was fun. Let's have you on again and get even nerdier about it.
Yeah,
sometime.
hopefully
Maybe
next
with
more
a
products next time. Yeah,
100%.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for having
Well,
it.
thanks
My
for having
pleasure.
me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take care.
Thank you. Uh-huh.
And folks, we're back with a cornucopia of lovely journalists. Hi.
Hello.
Everyone.
Hello.
So I've got Nirav Gondia, who was just on my show last week.
Because, waiting 6 months, I'm like an English bus. You wait 6 months and you get 2 of me in 2 weeks.
And then on my direct left here, I've got C. Scott Brown, Android Authority, and his own thing.
And my own thing,
yes. Which is awesome.
Thank you.
And then Mr. Adam Dowd on my right.
How you doing?
And Mr. Matt Swider.
Hello.
On the very end.
Remember, he's a professional broadcaster now.
Thank you. All right. So, folks, we're at MWC at Qualcomm's booth. Thanks, Qualcomm, for providing the space. And I think we want to go over all the awesome stuff we saw. I actually gave out awards for the first time this year.
Oh, wow.
Can you believe it?
Congratulations. And congratulations to your
I
recipients.
will insert an image here for the folks watching on Patreon right now. I should have probably put it out on the table. But
Yeah, I want to see this award. I didn't see
well,
it.
you guys are going to see it at the end.
Okay.
So, I mean, for me, honestly, I think we're probably all in agreement of the things we saw that are really cool. And I think we should just go. I'll bring up the list. Starting with Honor. There you go. There's my list. Magic V6 from Honor.
Okay.
And this is not like
That's a good
an
one.
ordered list in the sense that there's no winner here. It's more like the stuff I saw.
Right. In no particular order.
Right. Okay.
So
But in a particular order.
who thinks the Magic V6 is amazing? I think it is.
I think look, I've been using it a week and a half. Sounds like the entrance to any Marquez video.
Yeah.
I think they've refined it really well.
Yeah.
It ticks a lot of the boxes. On paper, it looks very, very similar to what you'll find from the V5. And even in person, it's really similar, but that's not a problem because the V5 was really good.
Right.
They've made the battery bigger. They've shrunk the components. They've done a great job at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also, like I said to them, I'm like, this is the third generation of this design, of this exact style. And, I think maybe the crease needed a little more zero feel, like...
Speaking of repeating designs, but anyway,
Well,
go ahead.
No, what do you mean? It's like 0.6 millimeters thinner. Like, oh my God. It's completely different.
So
I think the Magic V6 is a really good folding phone. But I also think this year is the year we see the absolute best from everybody in the industry. We've already seen Moto try and do something. Moto's feels a little svelter in the hand, stuff like that. So there's good and bad elements to it, but overall, I've been using them. We're not allowed to give it a review, but I've been using the V6, and it's actually a really, really good benchmark for the industry to follow.
Mm-hmm.
So any other thoughts?
Yeah, building on that, I use the V5 for both IFA and for CES, and the reason being is because I wanted to have a book style foldable and I want it to last all day, and it absolutely does. And the battery is now even bigger, so it's
66 and 60 milliamp hours.
So no connotations there, but no, it's a beast and it lasts forever. And the cameras are. Again, we don't have final software, which is why we can't really talk about, performance or camera or whatever. But so far, the samples that I've taken, even with the not final software, have been acceptable.
Is it
especially during
the mark of the devil?
No,
Yes.
do you know what? Especially during their event, which events is the hardest time to take pictures.
Yeah.
I was sat right at the back.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking 6x, 10x, and the photos came out crisp.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, this is actually the standard for what we expect from a foldable.
Yeah.
Especially if you use a Fold 7, no shade to them, but,
A little
a 12 megapixels 3x optical does bupkis.
Yeah.
So, Scott, any thoughts?
I'm just surprised.
Have you had it yet?
Yeah. But the thing that surprised me the most is that the 5 is not even a year old, not even close to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so when it came out, I was like, didn't we just do this? And so, yeah, like I think it's great, but at the same time, it's like okay,
It's
well,
very
why?
evolutionary,
Yeah,
right?
why are we doing this?
Well, also, the V5 was out in China for a couple of months before we saw it in the US.
Right.
So, I mean, I
yeah,
want to
so
say,
yeah, maybe that's
6
why.
months?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was that long. I want to say it was like a June to August gap or something like
It was
that.
February or early March to an
Was
August
it?
launch. Yeah, there was a sizable gap between
okay.
China
So that-
and global.
So that's
Okay.
probably why. So
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, then I guess we're back on a real schedule now. But
Yeah.
but still, for the Western audiences, there are people that just bought the
A
V5,
V5, yeah.
and so it's like that's a little weird. But
Matt, what are your thoughts?
I once again have Chinese smartphone envy because
Don't we all?
it is not available where my consumers can easily get it on my Substack. So therefore, we don't cover it nearly as much. So I've been seeing everybody use it,
Mhm.
and it is something that I want, or I would like Samsung or Apple or Google to
Or
make
Motorola.
something similar, or Motorola.
Mhm.
So where it's thin, it's that waterproof. It has the battery life in there. I
Yeah.
want all of that, but it's a little bit inaccessible for me, and that is a shame that the restrictions are there that shouldn't be there.
Matt brings up a good point. IP69 on a foldable.
I know that's insane.
You can put it in the dishwasher.
Finally, there.
It's
Like-
crazy.
They
you
didn't make a
test
big
that,
enough
Scott?
deal.
No, absolutely not. And you probably talked about this phone last week, but I asked Samsung, like, is this IP69? And they said, no, it's IP68. And I'm like, well,
Let's
The
not even go into Samsung. We've covered it to death.
I know, but I'm just saying it's.
I don't even know why you have that phone out. Like, what are you trying to do? Jinx the podcast? This is about Chinese phones. We're in China. I mean, sorry. We're in
We are not in
Barcelona.
China. I have really bad news for you here.
I know. Not quite the same. Okay, look.
Yeah.
I think what I like about the V6, I'm potentially getting one, it turns out now.
Ooh.
Wow, I know. But stay tuned. My fingers are crossed. I have been rocking the Oppo Find N5 for the whole year because I did not get a V5. Yeah, the last one. And so I'm actually curious to see if I get one, what it's going to be like, because I'm sure I'll be getting whatever the next Oppo is, the Find N6 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll make that my daily driver. For me, it's about Color OS being so close to Oxygen OS. And then, assuming the hardware specs are similar, especially the cameras, which is what I really crave in my phones, I think the Find is going to be great. But I think it'd be interesting if I can get myself this V6 to try it out, because it's intriguing to me, especially this incredible battery. And in China, it's 7,000 milliamp hours.
You said something just now, Color OS, and I think Honor doesn't get enough credit for their software.
It has
Actually,
improved.
over the last 2 years, their software has moved really a lot further away from its original roots of being what it was in the early days of Magic OS to I've used it as a daily. It works extremely well. It's really functional. They obviously support the pen, but the couple of things that really stand out for me is how easy it is to do the sharing with Apple devices. They've got it better than any other Android OEM right now. At least in that I've experienced, that we can talk about, at least.
Yeah.
It is really slick. Oh, yes, you do need a thing, but then it's really straightforward. And the other one is, if you've got a couple of Honor devices, because I have that Magic 8 Pro Air, for example, the Honor Magic Ring stuff is actually probably my favorite ecosystem play of
Nice.
within the quick settings and stuff like that. You can easily just tap, see everything. There's it's saving a whole bunch of taps that you need to press multiple taps to get to in other devices. So I give them mad amounts of credit. Obviously, a lot of this is driven by Google as well. But for those listening who go, well, their software, which is always a complaint lobbed at most Chinese companies, Honor's software, I have found it to be, really good and really really solid to use on a daily basis.
Well, I need to find out, because the last Honor phone I had was a Magic 5 Pro,
Okay.
which is what, 3 years ago now?
3 years, yeah.
So I don't know. Last time
Well-
I used it was a lot like Huawei software. There was a lot of that nice ecosystem integration for sure, but it was just a sucky experience in general, especially when you see what Oxygen and ColorOS bring to the table now. And they also have iPhone and Mac OS integration.
Not as tightly integrated.
So we'll find out. Let's switch to the Leica Leitzphon powered by Xiaomi. is
I didn't see this
aka
one.
the Xiaomi 17 Ultra with Leica branding.
Genius idea.
Fantastic. I haven't played with it, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's very enticing and appealing to me, this camera system. Remember our conversation about ultraing hard?
Yes.
And how Samsung is not ultraing, they're just proing and not really well at that? This is what I'm talking about. I don't care that $1,700 or $2,000 or whatever.
Well, it's 1,700 when converted out of China.
No, what I'm trying
The
to say is
equivalent
that
being a 2,000 plus phone.
you can still buy the Xiaomi 17 Ultra and get very close to that for 1,500 euros. And that's a lot of money, granted. But that's what I'm talking about. Ultras are halo phones. Who cares how much they cost?
Look.
These are niche products that show what the company can do. When are companies like Apple, Samsung, and Google understanding this?
What I will say is, a Leica branded phone, it takes me back 10 plus years to my early days when people were saying Nokia needs to make a Zeiss branded camera phone. During their heyday of the 1020, the 808, the N8s, when they were pushing the boundaries of imaging back then, Xiaomi's doing what Nokia should have done back then. There are a lot of people who will buy a Leica branded mobile product that would not buy a Xiaomi product, even with Leica lenses on it, because Leica's the kind of company that has insane brand
100%.
love and reputation. The caveat is, this is the first time we're seeing them truly do a Leica phone.
No, they did it with Sharp before that.
No, okay. The first time we're seeing Xiaomi do
Oh, Xiaomi, yeah, okay.
What they need to make sure is, A, does the hardware deliver, which based on everything I've
it
seen
is
from
the
the
same
17
hardware,
Ultra,
right?
will deliver. But then, does this deliver the look, feel, effect of why people like Leica cameras, which are more expensive than even your Sony full frames? Leica is actually almost the antithesis of Xiaomi, which puts great hardware and at more affordable prices. Leica's more the opposite, where it's not the absolute best hardware, but they have this great all-round experience that they can charge a premium for.
Adam,
Right.
thoughts?
I have not seen the phone.
No, but I mean, you have some ideas, right? Like, I mean, you've played with Xiaomi phones. You
Yeah.
probably play with Xiaomi phones like cameras.
Yeah.
Like, do you think this is just a branding exercise and it's silly and you should just buy the Xiaomi 17 Ultra and call it a day if you want that level of performance in the cameras? Or do you think it's worthwhile and there's a reason somebody should buy a Leica branded phone that's Leica first and Xiaomi second? That's the big question.
I mean, if it were me and I'm cheap, then yes, I would probably just go
No,
ahead.
but you've used good cameras on phones. You know what you want and what you like there.
Right. But I mean, if you're getting the same experience out of the Leitzphon you're getting or the Xiaomi Ultra, then yeah, I'll probably just go Ultra.
Yeah, that makes sense. Scott, you have any thoughts on this?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like
You're like, I'm a pixel guy.
Yeah.
My pixel camera is always going to deliver and I don't care.
When- No. Google
going to make one?
I think that I don't know. I've never seen the need to have a phone that can be a camera. Like, people want phones. Like, from what I could tell, the Leitzphon is it's more like a camera than it is a phone. And I think that's a very niche.
No, for
product.
sure. But I mean, that's what makes it cool.
So
right?
to answer your question, it would be.
I think
with the
we
Xiaomi
all
Ultra.
agree that we're here. I mean, we're here for our jobs, but our jobs are partially because we're fascinated with technology and, we're really excited. At least I can speak for myself. I'm really excited when I see a phone that just pushes the envelope, right?
But
In
does
every
it?
way. Yeah, of course it does. 1-inch sensor.
Well, yeah, no.
Variable.
You're talking about this. You're talking about the Xiaomi 17 Ultra. Does the Leitzphon push the envelope, or is it just a Xiaomi 17 Ultra?
I think it's a branding exercise, and they're leveraging that the best possible way by charging more because it's Leica. And that's
I don't think that's technological.
But the reason I
advancement,
picked
though.
it as an award was mostly because it's the best thing Xiaomi makes. Even though it's a Leica product, it's not really. It's a Xiaomi product.
Right, yeah.
So we could substitute in my list here that it's the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, basically.
yeah.
The fact that that phone exists and is now available globally is what really has got me excited because a lot of these Ultra phones are not available globally.
Right.
That said,
Yeah.
today Oppo announced the upcoming X9 Ultra is going global.
Yeah.
Today, Vivo announced the
X300 Ultra,
which we should talk about because that is a banger of a phone, and I saw it earlier. That is going global. To go right back to what you and I discussed last week for a brief minute, without going down this path, I think this could be where the benefit of all of this could be that it forces Samsung to rethink the Ultra for the sole purpose that now they've got real competition under an Ultra name, especially with other companies, no names, but also planning Ultra branded phones. Some companies we've already discussed that, and we'll discuss. Ultra is now becoming a category that everyone's going after.
Yeah, so I actually want to get your thoughts because you're mostly covered the phones we can get in North America, right? Like the Pixels and the Samsungs and the Apples. Like one of the things we discussed, me and Narav on last week's show, on the whole topic of Samsung was like, to me, this is not an Ultra phone. Mm-hmm. It should be a Pro phone. That's it. Or Pro Max or Pro whatever you want, a Pro Plus. For the large one, and I actually think that they should get rid of the Plus and make a smaller Pro.
That would be a good
which would be an Ultra. But and to reduce the cost and keep it more manageable, maybe remove that useless 3x, telephoto that's kind of crappy. It's for portraits mostly. But it sucks. Okay, so let's not get back into something. I'm just trying your thoughts on this Ultra stuff, because I think Ultra is the halo. It's like, car manufacturers make that one car that very few people can afford, but they look up to it and then they buy the cheaper car, right?
Yeah. I think I came up with my hands-on headline for this phone. I like it a lot.
That's good.
While I was sitting here.
Wait, Hadley's not here.
What's that?
Hadley, the one who makes all the best jokes like that.
That's my role now.
Okay.
I dug what I saw. It was tied to an alarm, so I didn't get the free use of it, and the alarm kept going off, so I'm violating the rules. But it reminded me of what I wanted from camera control with the Apple iPhone right series, and where Apple didn't take a big risk. They didn't change a lot. There was a button, and it kind of blew up in their face. It's not very good. It accidentally hit it all the time. And this is very different, where I'm like, I have the ring around the, the camera. I have the actual shutter button. It was like, this is dramatically different in a very, very good way. And I respected that change. Yes, it's part phone, part camera, but I think I want the best camera on me at all times, the best ability to have those controls.
So related to that, there's 3 grades of phones on the table here, right? There's the imaginary Ultras. We don't have them in front of us, but those are the pinnacle of camera phones. And then we have a really good example. My absolute darling favorite phone of last year and partially of this year. Yeah, the fine X9 Pro that Narav is holding. If you're watching right now on video, Patreons, you can see it. Patreon.com/TNKGRL in case you're listening and you're going, what? There's a video version? Yes, there is. $5 a month.
Get on
You get a day in advance every week. So this phone to me represents how high you can go with Pro, because it's almost Ultra level. It could be an Ultra in the West almost.
Oh, it absolutely
it's not
is
niche.
an Ultra
Like it's a mass.
It beats the.
But it's a mass production product. It's not a limited niche product, which is kind of, and this kind of what you were saying earlier. Well, do I really need that? This thing is still a phone, but the cameras are kind of edging at what that Leica's doing. Would you consider that okay? And would you want that on a Pixel?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it has to be a well-rounded experience. Most people are not buying a phone because they want a terrific camera. They're buying a phone because they want a terrific phone.
They want a tool.
They want it to do everything.
Yeah.
And obviously they would prefer it to have good cameras. But the idea that the Galaxy S26 over there has pretty much the same exact camera system as the Galaxy S22 shows that you don't need to make your cameras be amazing to sell lots of phones, because Samsung sells lots of phones. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, yes, you can have an amazing camera system and an amazing phone, but if the experience isn't there all around, all the stuff, software, hardware, design, everything, how long it gets support for, whether or not you can get a case for it at your local shop, everything about the phone is what's really important.
But that's very market specific, right?
I think the people sitting at this table and the people that are around us now at Mobile World Congress, we tend to forget who the actual person who's buying these phones are. We think that it's all a world of us, and it's we're the weirdos.
But you make a good
especially
point.
him.
You make a good point about regionalness of things, because like this Oppo is all widely available in Europe and in Asia, and you can get cases at your corner store.
Right.
So it's a different perspective, but I want to point that out because like that's why I use the example to kind of entice you to see if you want a Pixel like that, because this is a very mainstream phone in its respective market.
But the question would then be like, okay, well, how would Google do that and still make it so that this phone would have mass appeal?
Well, I think the challenge is for Google is that I think Google's in a specific kind of spot because they don't have the market share to really demand a higher price yet. But I'm thinking like Samsung and Apple could be in that realm potentially.
100% agree.
Of making a better phone than they're making.
There's no reason why Apple and Samsung can't.
We've talked about that.
I have a counter to both.
Oh yeah, sure.
So you just said something about higher prices. The X9 Pro
is not actually that much higher.
Is priced at £1,000 in the UK. The Pixel 10 Pro is priced at £1,000 in the UK.
Oh boy.
Both have, I believe so, there might be £100 difference in them.
Okay.
They both have carrier support. They both have case support. They both have accessory support.
6 years of software upgrades on this one.
6 years.
Not quite 7, but
it's 4 and 6. So it's 4 years of software,
and
6
6
of
of
security.
security. Okay, so it's not quite as
Fine.
good.
So let's put it to you this
4 years
way.
is pretty good.
What you said makes sense, but I go with what Miriam said. I think this is regional specific. If we were to treat Oppo like, if Oppo was Google bringing this to the US market and pricing it at $1,200, say, just to account for certain things, but had the same level of buy-in support as the Google does across the thing, the conversation would be very different.
Yeah.
So, and it is a perspective thing, which is why I wanted to throw it out there, being the European amongst us here, because actually, like you said, outside the US, even Oppo's not as good as, say, Honor. Honor has mass support from all the carriers.
Yeah.
It competes with Samsung in virtually every carrier. It has wide range of cases. It has the support. It has the infrastructure built up to do that. And I think that's the caveat when we're thinking about any of these companies. We need to think about it not from a direct apples to apples comparison now.
Apples to Samsung?
Apples to Oppo comparison, if you will. But think of it more like if they were in the US at a level that Google is, which is probably like, OnePlus slowly got there and then just completely pulled back before they could have absolutely, had they kept going, been in 3 carriers, had wide support,
I think
done that.
It's very interesting that you bring up OnePlus because the reason that OnePlus didn't make it in America once they got their foot in the door is because they treated it like a Chinese company.
Yeah.
They did China phones in America and it didn't work. So it's like America doesn't want that. America wants...
I don't think it's the phones that were the problem. I think it's the way they approach things with the carriers that was the problem.
I don't think...
The phone itself, we're great.
The OnePlus 6T came out. Everybody wanted it. It was a big thing. I remember being in line in Times Square to get into the T-Mobile store there.
Oh, yeah, with the 6T.
To get into the 6T. And it was this huge, huge deal. And then the 7 Pro came out. And it was just like, oh my God, the 7 Pro
the 7
was
Pro
one of my
is still, to this day,
of all time. Little pop-up selfie camera, brilliant thing. It was an amazing, amazing phone. It was a Chinese phone in America. Total bomb. Didn't do well at all in America. And by the OnePlus 9, OnePlus had lost all of its carrier deals. So it's like, But
I've talked to the carriers about this. And from what I understand, they got screwed by OnePlus with the 6T and the 6. And they were not happy. And that is why it was downhill on the 7 series. Because the 7 series, technically speaking, and price-wise, was perfectly competitive.
But yeah,
I think you both missed something, just to jump in. And you mentioned software design, all of that, as being the fundamental reasons that Samsung's done well. So I spent 10 years in retail. Back then, you couldn't sell a Samsung phone for £100. You were selling LG, nobody would buy them. And I know my own family didn't want to, my dad would never switch to a Samsung phone for years. Samsung, yes, there was a lot of innovation involved. But the reason Google survived when OnePlus didn't, and the reason Samsung is so good and sells a bucket load of phones, is not as much to do with the phone as their ability to market and their willingness to spend
100%.
money.
Right.
To go back to your point, because I've spoken to the carriers as well. The reason they got screwed is because a guarantee promises were made that OnePlus would invest XYZ into marketing,
And they didn't.
And they didn't.
And they didn't. And OnePlus was probably relying on carriers to do all the work. But that doesn't work in any country in the world. And then you look at Honor, to their credit, not in US, but in Europe, they market their phones heavily. They push the marketing levels to the similar amounts of Samsung do. Not as broad, not the same spend, but they do a level of marketing. Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, they do not.
No.
So as much as it is about a good experience, and no one can deny that the S26 Ultra isn't a good experience. I started my video with,
it's a good experience.
I think they nailed it. For what they were going for, they nailed it. And it is probably the best camera, and best experience in this Ultra category, in that North America region, like all very heavily caveated to the fact that there's very little competition and there's even less every year.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, Samsung knows how to put enough features in to then run tons of marketing behind it. You can already tell that for the next 6 months, we're going to see nothing but privacy display ads.
Oh my God.
And guess what?
It's going to work.
Will work and they will sell bucket loads.
But you know what? That's Apple's playbook that Samsung's playing.
And the thing is, before
And
Apple
Google
was
is doing it
this,
too.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that it's not Apple's playbook. It's just Success's playbook. It's just this is what successful companies do.
it's also Samsung's playbook before Apple did it.
So let's switch to another phone because, there's a lot.
There's a lot.
This is back more into our domain here because so obviously Motorola Razr Fold.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Matt? And Adam too, because I feel like personally, I'm really excited about this phone because I know it's coming to North America with the proper marketing, the proper support, the proper everything. I mean, respective, within Moto's realm, right? But I think they've done a pretty good job with the Razr Flip. So Razr Fold now, it's not the highest specs, it's not the thinnest, but it's close. It's good. I feel a bit weird though that they didn't put an 8 Elite Gen 5. And when I asked them about it, they were kind of evasive. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm nervous about it. Now, by the time this podcast airs, I will have published a piece on ZDNet called "The Razr Fold is $2,000, but hear me out." I'm nervous about this phone just because I think Motorola is trying to position its foldable as premium as the Fold 7, and in a few cases, it's just not. And so I suspect that we will see the same Motorola playbook, that it'll come out at $2,000 and it'll be discounted by $400 within the first 4 weeks.
That's good though.
Which is great. But at the same time, I think it's the wrong messaging that they need to be sending. I think that a lot of people are going to see Razr Fold, $2,000. I'm moving on. I just think that people that are in this segment are going to be familiar with Samsung and the fact that Samsung's been doing this for 7 years. And this is Motorola's first shot at it.
Well, my biggest concern is not that. My biggest concern is by the time that thing ships, it'll be a month before the Fold 8.
Right.
And we know the Fold 8 is going to be at least as good, even if it's barely iterative with the Fold 7. The Fold 7 is such a solid phone that, like for the West, for folding, that I think that that's going to be the juggernaut.
But it's important to remember that $2,000 price also includes the Pen Ultra.
Okay.
Then the Pen Ultra works on the inner screen.
Did they actually announce the price? Is it actually 2,000?
It's 2,000 euro.
Okay.
Is what it said in the blog post. But typically with the US price, they take out the euro sign and put in a dollar sign. But it's going to include the Pen Ultra, which works on the inner screen and the outer screen, which is kind of a fun thing. It's going to have a bigger screen than the Fold 7. It's going to have a bigger battery than the Fold 7. It's going to have a slower
silicon carbon battery, by the way.
It's going to have a silicon carbon battery, faster charging,
better cameras, maybe.
Yeah, but it's going to have, like you said, the step down processor. But I mean, that's why I'm saying, hear me out, because there's a lot of good stuff here.
Do you think it has a chance, Matt?
There's a lot of promise. I don't have particular confidence that Motorola always delivers.
Yeah.
As Adam said, I do like the fact that you can write with their version of the S Pen, their stylus, on the front and the back screen, right, or the inside screen.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that has disappeared from the Galaxy Fold line, right? You need a
Sadly.
specialized pen as well. So that's a nice feature. They mentioned that the DxO Mark score, the ranking, it's the number one foldable smartphone camera on there.
Mhm.
That there's two ways to look
It
at
also
that.
gets a higher Geekbench score.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see
Who cares about that?
There's a lot of
Exactly.
promise to that Sony sensor in the cameras. The 50 megapixel sensor looks promising, but as I said, Motorola just really, it's their first time out with a foldable of this size,
Mhm.
and Samsung has done it 7 times, and it's going to be on their 8th by August, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious.
I'm worried it's going to be like the Pixel Fold, like not the original, but the current one, where it's good, but not good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like other than the tensor chip and the thickness, which now is no longer competitive, everything else maybe the cameras. I mean, there's a few things in there that could be improved and that they didn't improve. The 9 was perfect for its time. Pixel 9 Pro Fold. But then, I don't know, they lost the plot for 10 Pro Fold. Like, it wasn't competitive anymore.
I think a lot of companies need to see the writing on the wall. We've mentioned a few times now that Samsung has done this 7 times already. And the entire foldable market is still like, I think 1%. So it's like I don't know, like I feel like it's a mistake that Motorola is getting into this game so late. Because we're already seeing, like you just mentioned, Google sort of phoning it in with the 10 Pro Fold.
Well,
And it's just what are we doing?
At the same time, Motorola was late to the market on the flip market, and
That's
they
true.
own 67%. Was it 67%? I think they said
75.
75% of the North
Wow.
American flip market.
Yeah.
I mean,
Number one
But
across
that's a
LATAM
whole
and
different
everything.
audience.
it really is.
And the reason that Motorola did so good is because they made it very interesting. They appeal to the youth market. They're like, oh, our phones are colorful and they do
And they made
selfies
it
really
cheap.
good, and it's cheap. And this is going to be a great new fun thing for the kids to use.
Yeah.
But the Fold, it's just inherently not that. It's for business people that want spreadsheets and stuff on the inner screen.
And the other thing that Motorola, I think, is lacking, at least so far, we haven't seen a final production unit yet, but one of the things that I think really appeals, at least to the geek in me, about the flips is the clever use of software.
Yeah.
And we don't see that in the Fold. I was really looking for this is a fun thing, and I couldn't find anything in my hands-on time with it twice now. And so I think that's a little bit lacking as well.
Yeah.
my biggest fear right now is that, do you guys remember the Moto Edge Plus with Verizon that came out during COVID, 2020, 2021? And there was so much promise that on paper, it was a proper flagship at the time. And then when we got it, first it was tied to Verizon, which is dumb. Second, I mean, not because of Verizon, just because you don't tie yourself up to a single
This
carrier
video is
anymore.
brought to you by Verizon.
Hi, George. But I think that, the camera system was supposed to be really fine. On paper, it looked right. And it was supposed to finally bring Moto to the table, and it didn't. And I'm a little worried about that. I did test the camera, and I thought it was okay.
Okay.
It needs a bit of work, but it's not final software. So I'm going to, but on paper, the specs, this is the best folding phone cameras short of a Chinese folding phone. Oh, but it is a Chinese folding phone. It's Lenovo. But I'm just saying, for North America. So
Right. Motorola, so all of you have got, I think, I don't disagree with what you guys are saying, but I do. I actually think that if you were to try and launch a book-style folding phone in North America, you would do what Motorola's done. And I'll tell you why. This goes right back to how do you be successful? You've got to go against the thing.
yeah, against the flow.
Against the grain, there's something about competitive disadvantage, whatever that phrase is.
Blue ocean strategy is
Yeah, where they've gone with this is, right, they've looked at the Fold 7 and gone, we're not going to compete directly in thinness, even though it's not thick.
Yeah.
It's actually very competitive.
It's very
yeah.
competitive.
It's not
We're
like
not going to
Pixel.
compete in this, but what we are going to do, we're going to do what we do. We're going to throw in much faster charging. We're going to throw in
Silicon carbon.
38% larger battery.
Yeah.
Make no doubt about it. Those things make a difference.
Oh, yeah.
But also, yes, Samsung has a 200 megapixel main camera on the Fold 7, which in the retail world, that is a big number and will sell, trust me.
Sure.
Motorola can absolutely do what they said, which is we have a better overall camera.
Overall
we've got
experience.
better zoom.
Yeah.
We've got better this. We've got better this. We've got
I
better
mean-
this.
Right.
There's enough there. But then there's one other caveat that none of you mentioned, which I think is and it's not necessarily North America, but absolutely will work in North America. World Cup. The partnership
Yeah,
there, the
FIFA.
branded there. It is the right time to launch this. And the other last reason it's the right time, we all expect Apple to launch a foldable this year. It is 1% of the market right now.
All ships rise with the tide.
Yeah.
When Apple goes into a market,
Yep.
I've said so many times to people, this is going to result in one of two things. Foldables either become what we hope they all become, which is this is a mainstream. This is why we're seeing everyone try and bring their best foldable this year, or the category dies. If Apple can't get people into the foldable space in the next 2 years,
I don't
No one
understand
can.
why Apple didn't make a flip though. This is the lowest hanging fruit for them. Like everyone I showed
No,
a
no,
razor
no, no,
to
no, no.
wants an iPhone like that.
yeah, but here's the kicker. I also think if you're Apple, you know this is a whole new category where you're going in very much against people who've been doing this a very long time
Yeah.
now. No matter how much testing you do, think 4S here, people. This is always going to be fraught. Do you go with something that is, what I assume will end up being a $2,500 product because they can get away with charging that, that won't cannibalize your $1,000, $1,500 product? Or do you do something that's going to cannibalize that product and then try and do this way? Eventually they'll do that and maybe it replaces a Pro Max and the Pro Max becomes a flip. But for Apple, it is actually the right way. Why is the Vision Pro a $4,000 product to start? Because it's a great way to boost revenue numbers, get people who are going to buy it anyway to do it, almost as the guinea pigs, but make it so it's not accessible to absolutely everybody.
Yeah.
And one more thing. Motorola's told us numerous times that I think the last time it was 31% of people on a Razr have switched from an iPhone. So for Apple to really compete, yes, it's going to be iOS and stuff like that. That's fine. They get it. And they've finally built multitasking and stuff like that. The big screen on an iPhone Fold, you could bring maybe iPad level multitasking, stuff like that. They've got that built. They've got to have the most compelling use cases for the flip form factor software, which they don't have.
Yeah, that's true.
And they'd have to go orange and bright colors to challenge Motorola. They've made the right business decision, in my opinion, going big, expensive fold, raises the overall ARPU, average revenue of an iPhone, raises the bar, sets a new benchmark where you can suddenly start to go, okay, we're now going to take the Pro Max and start to push it to 1,400, to 1,500.
Ultra.
It gives them a whole new scope to work with it.
I'm still not convinced that there's a foldable coming this year, but
I think so. I think we are going to see it.
yeah.
All right, let's switch to another
Worst
phone.
case, I do think we'll see them announce it because it's so widely expected.
Might be the one
and
more
say,
thing.
It's coming soon, early next year, kind of like they did
Like
Vision
with
Pro,
the Vision Pro. Yeah.
where they announce it and then it becomes a drip over several months.
Next phone.
Yeah.
Nothing Phone 4A. Thoughts?
Don't got it.
I love it. I love it.
Love the blue.
I love the pink. Look, the phone's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be affordable. It's going to be mid-range. It's going to be a slight evolution over the 3A, which was a really good phone, especially the 3A Pro.
Yeah.
In that sense, I'm happy. I'm excited. It's good. But it's the colors. It's the playfulness. It's the fact that we're seeing OnePlus all over again.
They went back to nothing. Went back to nothing.
Because Carl did it once before.
I saw...
And I just love seeing this happen again. It feels like Groundhog Day, but fresher.
I haven't seen the phones in person because I wasn't at the thing. But I did see Nick Gray shot some videos of it, and the colors are very compelling. I'm very much dig those colorways. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I have, because mine, I believe, is sitting on my front porch as we speak. So
Yeah, we all have our units sitting somewhere in our offices right now.
right.
I like they were handing out cotton candy, which matched the pink and the blue.
that
It's
is
like
fun.
And the actual candy too, like from those like silos they had.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, they just know how to do it.
But
And the
also-
whole container reveal and the
Yeah.
whole like, it's
Guys,
so good.
They brought the glyphs back. Remember, they went down this path of putting a little screen on there
I
and all
like
of this
that.
other. No, see, I think that was inherently nowhere near as useful. You know, I forget who told me. Maybe it was Issa or it was Sarang. The glyphs, that little bit glyph bar, when you change the volume keys,
Yeah.
it reflects the thing.
Yeah.
Now, if you're putting, the whole point of glyphs is it's face down on a table. Now, you can, like, just the ability to change the volume keys and have the lights go up and down so you know what the volume is.
Yeah, and it did that
on
with the
front.
original
You
glyphs,
could have
too.
done that with the glyph
There is-
circle thing.
There is so many different
not
parts here
quite
that
the
I think
same.
takes it back
I
to
know.
what made
I like
nothing
Nothing.
interesting in
Yeah.
the first place.
I agree. Although I am a staunch supporter of the. I'm such a supporter of it. I don't remember what the name
Glyph
of it is.
display.
The glyph display.
Glyph matrix.
The glyph matrix. That's what it
There
was.
you go.
I am a
I'll
staunch
make it
supporter
bigger.
of that, just because it had fun little games and it was a little bit more. It was more informative than just a light bar.
But that's what made the glyph. The glyph is just a light bar. They went a little too far with the display. I love it too, but the Magic 8 Ball is super cool. But
I think the button was the problem.
Yeah, the button was
Oh,
the
yeah.
problem.
The button was a problem.
Needing to
No,
activate it like
yeah.
that.
No, I think having a little display, like, that's fine, but the button was where I lost it. I was
That's
why
fair.
do we have this
I'm
button?
actually curious to see, because at this point they've revealed, and again, you guys are going to listen to this and watch this on Sunday. By this point, it's a few days from now, the new super thin and light and cheap, and I shouldn't say cheap, but affordable MacBook will be out, hopefully, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
By that point, by the way, the iPhone 17e is out. Mine should be arriving anytime now. So, that happened here while we're at MWC. All of that. But I'm just saying, for me, what's really exciting about is that we don't know anything about the 4A Pro yet. And apparently it's supposed to have a metal frame. They're supposed to go up market with it a bit.
Interesting.
So, I mean, not necessarily in price either, like just in spec.
Right.
And, remember, I want to remind everyone that the flagship from Nothing last year, the Nothing Phone 3, had a worse camera system than a Nothing Phone 3A Pro did. Like, sensor size and optics.
I actually think
Was
they
the
need to
nothing-
drop the regular series.
100%.
4A Pro should just be their two phones.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think
No,
that's kind of where they're going.
Carl will never do that. Carl's chasing.
Well, he said he won't do a flagship this year.
Yeah, but he wants to do flagship.
That doesn't
He's
mean he
not.
wants
He's not going to say we're not doing flagships.
He's not flagshipping hard enough.
Oh well.
He should just be like, here's
Like,
here's
the 3 was
4A,
not.
and
No,
here's
no,
the
I'm not.
4.
But I'm saying, like, I think Carl would shut down the company before he would say,
Okay,
we're
fair.
not going to try this.
And
But I
just
think that I like the idea that they're going to do every 2 years, right?
going back to the colors, I have to say this in a what's going to be a little less than $500, something like that.
Yeah,
So-
it was $350
Right,
last year.
probably.
so-
Right. The fact that we're getting bold, awesome colors in a cheap phone,
And
an affordable
design.
phone, and design versus a lot of the pro phones out there and a lot of the ultra phones get like the colors.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
it's-
Hello, Galaxy S26 Ultra.
Yeah.
No Pixel.
Have they announced
God.
US availability for the Nothing phones yet?
No, they don't get USB.
It will be a nothing beta
It'll be the beta
launch
program,
for
yeah.
dedicated
Well, because the
fans.
last
The
phone
3A
didn't
was
have that
so-
beta workaround thing.
Was
It
it?
was
Yeah.
you
3A,
could just
3A Pro were
activate it. You
direct.
could just buy it.
You could buy
Like
them
there
on
was
Amazon.
no
Right,
sign up for the
officially from
beta
Nothing.
and do the thing.
I
Like
thought the 3 was.
that was a straight up thing.
I
So
don't-
yeah,
that,
yeah.
that's still
I
a
thought
thing.
The 3, the A's.
So
did
it's
get
the
it.
CMF phones, and then that light that they did, the 3 light, those were not available.
I was under the
Right,
impression
right.
that the flagship ones, the numbered ones without the A, they get US releases, and the
I
CMF
think-
and the A's don't.
With the 3A,
maybe.
they changed that. The
Oh, okay.
2A, I think,
I could
was
be
not.
mistaken.
Yeah, I think it's actually the right move to go A series launched in the States because there's not as much competition in that
Yeah.
in that price point.
In the mid range?
No, but I think nothing can't go in at $900. There is too much there. And you need that carrier support. You need all of that other stuff that you need those carrier deals. You need everything that they don't have. but you go in at the 3-4 mark, there's a lot more scope, I think, in terms of a target market there to work with. And they can stand out in it compared to, I mean, you look at a Pixel 10a versus potentially a Nothing Phone 4a, like that's a really good fight.
They also can't weather the cost of what Samsung and Apple could do, which is memory cost going up through the roof, RAM.
Oh yeah, because they don't have the buffer of buying quantities in advance.
Let's take a hit on our margins for no. It's essentially a startup.
Yeah.
Right. So
we have a little bit of time left, and I have a few things I want to throw in your direction, and because we don't have time to dive into them too much, I want to kind of get like a thumbs up, thumbs down, or like a 1 out of 5 rating. Things I'm going to throw your way, and each of you. So, a Lenovo ThinkBook modular AI PC concept.
I made
you
a
know
video
what I'm talking
about
about?
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
I was excited about it. I made a video about it.
it's interesting to see what framework has started,
Uh-huh.
and bigger companies are going, that is a good idea. Let's try that as well.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think it's a good thing for sustainability, but we'll see if it catches on, because I think there's a reason that the hardware is usually as tight as it is.
Thumbs up?
Yeah, I like the idea. It's good.
Adam, what are your thoughts?
I was excited about it. I made a video about it.
You just said that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll check out your video. Thumbs up then.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm super into it simply because of the modularity, but done in a smart way. The concept felt like you would really, to be fair, it's a concept, I get that. And Lenovo is really good at making solid products, but this is going to need a lot of work to become a really solid Lenovo grade product, because, oh my God, like I thought I was going to break that thing.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to give a thumbs up for the concept, thumbs down for the product.
Okay.
And I say that because, like you said, it felt like I was going to break it. And
never got that
let's not forget that it has a 33 watt hour battery.
Yeah, well, that will,
That's
they cannot
hilarious.
chip with that.
To
It's gonna
power-
have to-
I mean,
it's
to
gonna have
power
to be
2
thicker.
screens.
As the concept, thumbs up. As a product,
Yeah.
this is going to be very different.
Straight thumbs up. I like it. I
Yep.
agree with.
I hope they can make it happen.
But they have form for bringing concepts to market in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next one is TCL Next Paper OLED concept.
Massive thumbs up.
Yeah, I can't wait for them to go OLED, right? We all agree on that?
I mean,
Yeah.
So
man.
full disclosure, TCL bought some sponsored content from me.
Okay.
But at the same time, even if they didn't, 100% thumbs
I'm
up.
hoping they can deliver a really high PWM on that, because that's the biggest challenge with an OLED right now.
Yeah.
On the LCD, the reason I have flicker free right now on Next Paper is that
Right.
it's freaking easy to do flicker free on freaking LCD.
I just wish they would stop putting this great screen on top of crap phones.
Well,
yeah,
that's
that's
another
the-
whole discussion.
that's
Well,
that
I mean,
market,
if you want to know thumbs up or thumbs down, because they keep putting great screen on crap phones.
They should license the screen to someone
Correct.
else.
They
But they're
should,
not going to.
absolutely.
They're not going to.
And I think TCL got really burned back during the early days of COVID doing quote unquote flagships or trying.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but I think they need to go back to something like they're a little too low right now.
But it's
Yeah.
Like they
also-
need to
that's-
do like Pixel 10a, Nothing
Yeah.
Phone 3a,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
level,
Yeah, I agree
right?
with
That would be and two enthusiastic thumbs up,
Right,
daily
yeah.
driver.
Matt?
Thumbs up eventually. I want Next Paper to be Now Paper. Give me that flagship phone.
Yeah, okay. We're all in the same boat then. Okay, next one. Techno modular phone.
Yeah.
Oh, stat.
Really?
It's really dumb.
So the magnets aren't strong enough. There's a lot of wobble there. They have the same problem that Motorola had with the mods, is they're locking themselves into that form factor.
Yeah.
And half the mods that they have aren't mods. They're just stuff that sticks to the phone.
They have an antenna that you stick to the phone that supposedly would increase your cell reception, which is so dumb.
But they have a lav mic. Why would you stick a lav mic to your phone?
It's just, yeah.
Well, you can
yeah.
detach and then put it on your
But then it's not a mod. Then it's just a thing that sticks to your phone.
They've discovered magnets. Techno finally knows what magnets are. Come on. Like you're a kid, you discover magnets, you build a phone.
I learned about magnets from ICP. I don't know about you.
They learned what magnets are. Samsung still has not.
That is a burn. Speaking of, as an aside, by the way, by the time you get this podcast on Sunday, Pixel 10a reviews will be out, including my own. And No pixel snap was another one of those, okay? Because now, especially since the iPhone 17e fixed MagSafe and put it in, and also doubled the base storage at not more cost.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
We could have gotten a G5 and a Mac and a Snap. That's all I wanted from that phone. I didn't want more than that. Yeah. You have lots of
Honestly,
thoughts,
I'm good
right?
with the 10.
Go to
You're going to have a video.
Go to my solo. No, there's
Okay.
already a video on my solo channel of me
for the,
talking
no, but
about
for the
it.
review.
Oh, no, I'm not going to have... I'm here. I'm not going to get a review.
Okay.
Of it.
I would have been
Narav Technophone.
Like the idea.
Concept of modular.
Read about it, haven't seen it yet. It's
Nah, I
on my
haven't
list
seen
for
it.
tomorrow, so...
Check out the trifold while you're there, too.
Have seen Trifold, have seen their Trifolds before. Hell yes.
Yeah.
I'm thumbs up simply because I'm an idealist and I love concepts.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's
But-
lots of
and,
caveats.
And it needs to be mentioned that Techno is the Lenovo of phones.
Yes.
Because they bring cool concepts
I know.
every MWC.
And I haven't played with it, so I don't know.
To their credit, they bought this Spark Slim last year, which I have. They bought it
it's
at
cool.
IFA.
Yeah.
Solid phone.
Yeah.
Solid. And it's available on market.
Mm-hmm.
Anchor Soundcore Space 2. Did you guys get a chance to listen to these headphones and see them?
No.
$129, 70 hours of battery life.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
They're the sequel to the best budget ANC headphones out there. So a lot of promise there. $129.
I listened to them. I paired them with my phone, and the Soundcore app didn't recognize them because they're not out yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to tune it. But the sound, the baseline of the sound quality was really solid.
Yeah.
ANC, I was at freaking Showstoppers, and it was working great.
Nice.
Battery life, of course, I think it's actually only 60 hours with ANC and 70 without. But anyway, it's incredible. I give them an award because I feel like we need more budget. And this brings us back a little bit to nothing because they're going to be making headphones A as well, announcing. And I have the headphones, the big ones, the expensive one.
Mm-hmm.
But they also make the CMF headphone Pro, which are $79. And they're going to give a run for their money to the $129 because even at $79, they're the best noise canceling headphones I've ever heard. Great battery life. Incredible sound, incredible ANC, $79. How does nothing do that?
Volume. That's what they're
They
doing.
can't be having high volume with them.
They do.
Well, yeah, they also...
CMF is the highest selling brand in
India, yeah.
But they also have very slim margins,
They
too.
do, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it. I've got a few more in here, but Snapdragon Wear Elite wasn't one of my awards because I'm excited about what it can bring to smartwatches. MediaTek had an early 6G demo that I think is really cool, and I gave them an award
I didn't
for
get a
that.
chance to look at that.
And then I had to because I just love what I call the quote-unquote Shenzhen specials. All these phones like Blackview and Ulefone and Ucatel, like those wonky 2-inch thick phones with 20,000 milliamp hour batteries and
That starts
and
fires.
fire igniter. This fire starter phone
I
from
lit a cigarette.
Ucatel. Oh my god, that was so good.
And don't forget the video that I showed you before, the absolute millimeter for millimeter clones of both the iPhone
the
17
iPhone
Pro
7
Max and the S26 Ultra. And
Well-
they're amazing.
That's a good place to wrap up.
Yep.
Let's start with you, Matt. Where can folks find you on the internet?
Oh, yeah.
Pimp yourself out.
Find me on theshortcut.com. It's the #1 consumer tech site on Substack. So if you know what Substack is, if you don't, do subscribe. And at Matt Swider on all the social media platforms. So yeah, looking forward to hearing this and getting some new subscribers.
And what about you, Adam?
I don't have my script up, so I'm going to suck at this. I'm Dead Technology everywhere. Threads and Instagram and
Awesome.
Benefit of a Doubt everywhere else. YouTube.com/Benefit of a Doubt and on TikTok as well. Now that I actually post a TikTok again, maybe, kind of. But yeah, and I write everywhere.
Awesome. What about you, Scott?
Just go to my YouTube at @CScottBrown, and you'll find everything you need there.
Fantastic. What about you, Narav?
If you weren't listening to last week's podcast, why not? But I'll try and repeat it. You find me at hot.tech. That's HOT_TECH. And across all social, it's HOT_DOT_TECH. Aside from Twitter, where it's at Nirav, NIRAVE.
And folks, you know where to find me on the internet. I'm at Tankgirl, TNKGR, like the comic book character, drop the vowels. That's my handle everywhere except on TikTok where it's TNKGRL69. And then mostly on Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram. So find us there, chat with us about this podcast. And my podcast lives at mobiletechpodcast.com on all the major platforms. So find and subscribe and all that good stuff. If your app lets you rate or review the show, consider doing that. It helps too. YouTube channel is youtube.com/mobiletechpodcast. Of course, like, subscribe, tell your friends, click the bell, comment, all that good stuff. There's some hands-on videos, like my most recent one was the S26 Ultra. And then finally, I want to remind you that you can support me on Patreon. Patreon.com/TNKGRL, like my handle. So if you want to get a video version of this podcast and you want to get it every week for $5 a month and a day in advance, that's where you go. That's where you go. Patreon.com/TNKGRL gets you the podcast on video. So check that out. And finally, I want to thank our sponsor, Enovix. Enovix develops and manufactures advanced lithium-ion batteries, including proprietary silicon anode architectures for smartphones, smart eyewear, defense, industrial, and emerging edge AI applications. Its proprietary silicon anode battery architecture enables higher energy density and performance in space-constrained devices while maintaining safety and reliability, supporting commercialization across consumer and industrial markets. And folks, thanks so much for being my guest at this crazy MWC podcast in Barcelona. And thanks to Qualcomm for the space.
Thanks for having us, Miriam.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anytime.
And thank you for watching and for supporting Tank Girl on Patreon.
Wow, you sounded very radio voice there.
I know.
That was pretty good. All right, folks, stay tuned. We'll have another show next week. Until then, cheers, everybody.
This has been the Mobile Tech Podcast with Tank Girl, proudly presented by worldpodcasts.com. You can visit us online at mobiletechpodcast.com.